Today we're speaking to Timothy. He's built a company teaching people how to drive cranes so they can earn £50,000 a year. He's getting some money into the business, but not enough for where he really wants to get to. So we've got to try and grow this business. Now, the problem with Timothy is he thinks too small. He's got to think bigger if he wants to get big results. Take a listen. Hello, campers. Welcome back to Business Broadcast.
Hello, everybody.
So, JB, now, today we're going to speak to quite possibly the person that I think should be the next James Bond.
Yes.
I mean,
he looks like it. He sounds like it.
His voice is stunning. He's not an actor. This is a real entrepreneur that's going to be coming on the airways in moments' time. He's from London. He's actually calling us from America. I think he's doing some work in America.
He's doing some consultancy gigs, yeah.
But basically, it's an education business, I think, for people that want to learn how to drive cranes.
Do you know the problem with this sector? It's always up and down. Come on, Sinclair. You're loving it already, aren't you? I've got loads of them. I just Googled lift jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he trains people how to use cranes, effectively. That is a niche, isn't it?
Yeah.
Would you, I wouldn't even want to get up in a crane.
No.
I do not. I'm not a fan of heights.
Good money. So people start on £50,000 a year once they've learned how to drive a crane.
Take it all back. I'll get in a crane anytime.
Yeah, there we go.
Have you seen the people though who get up there? Because once you're up there for the day, aren't you?
Well, actually, Aaron, you know my MD.
Yeah.
His son is one of his eldest sons drives a crane.
Does he?
Yeah. He used to work for us. Regan, crane driver extraordinaire.
Wow. And do you go up there? I imagine you go up there for the day. You're not coming back down, are you?
I mean, I do sometimes think, if you get up the top, you go, I could do with a wee right now.
That'd be annoying, wouldn't it?
We just do it in a bottle here, but what do you need? Number twos, not very fun. Not very fun at all.
You're not coming back down though, are you?
How long does it take to get down a crane?
Depends what you did, boo.
Yeah, there you go.
Under 30 seconds.
So he's only been going a couple of years. He said he's had a few brushes with entrepreneurship. He had a marketing agency, didn't he?
Yeah.
And stuff. He's got 2 full-time team members. What's his challenges?
His challenge number 1, getting customers and being consistent. Challenge 2, quality of the customers and customer affordability. And challenge number 3, we start at 0 every month and our our LTV, our lifetime value, isn't great.
So what do you not like about this business model? I mean, I've got some things I don't like.
There's a few things. I think firstly, and he talked to us about in the pre-chat chat, he's selling something to a market that struggle to afford what it is that he's selling.
Yeah, because he's not selling to the businesses.
No, he's selling to individuals.
I think the best way of describing this is like people that want to learn how to drive a 7.5 ton lorry or a 20
get a
ton.
HGV license.
They have to go and do that sort of stuff.
Yes.
Sometimes companies will pay for it though, and then they'll say you have to work for us at least 2 years, or you have to pay us that money back, and blah blah blah.
I wonder if that's a route to market within there. If you can go to those construction companies.
Yeah, but I was just thinking about it. There's a lot of people that want 7.5 ton drivers and 18, 22 ton drivers. But I mean, I don't know any. I mean, I know one crane driver, Regan, but I know a lot of people that can drive 7.5 tonners and 22 tonners, etc., etc. Yeah.
Yeah, but I suppose
is it big enough, or is there so many people that have already paid and doing it themselves? Why do the company need to do it?
Yeah, maybe. But
I wondered if there was CPD though, where you need continual professional development to carry on driving the crane, like doctors.
Yeah, you would have thought. Well, you'd hope so, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
you think the amount of work that's going on, especially in like the suburbs. When I sort of drive through to get to work, anywhere sort of like there's a big like Catford, Lewisham, they're just absolutely.
Yeah, but you might
dozens
see
and dozens,
10 or 15
dozens.
crains.
Oh yeah, but
you might see
every
2,000 lorries a day.
Yeah, I'll take that.
3,000 lorries, 10,000 lorries.
But there's obviously. I wonder how much of a sector demand that there is, because this is much more niche, isn't it?
We'll find out in a moment. And the other thing I don't like about it is you do all that work to get a customer that don't need you again, because once they've got it, it sounds like they don't need to redo
unless
it again.
They have that CPD thing, which is going to be.
I'm just thinking. I don't think you don't do a CPD driving license, do you?
No, but
I think if you're a police officer, you do though, don't you? You need to.
Yeah, but the sort of stuff that they're doing, surely they must get someone. It must be like.
I don't think 24, 30 ton lorry drivers need to redo lessons every year.
No, but then there's probably less of a, I suppose. I thought it'd be more like a pilot kind of vibe. We've got
They
to
definitely do. Yeah.
that you've got to do a certain amount of hours or be checked.
I don't think you do. Well, we'll find out.
We will find out.
Yeah, because
I know what you're thinking, listener. Just unmute the guy and
Yeah,
just find
and ask
out.
him.
But
Actually,
no,
let's ask that.
because we can save the voice.
Okay, fine.
Save the voice for the big reveal.
Yeah, I don't like that, yeah.
And starting from 0 every month is very difficult. And you're not going to get around that, are you? I wonder if, for this business to go to the next level, I wonder if there's a way that he can get government funding or start to do...
It's so difficult, all that, though, isn't it? I mean, I've got that.
There's apprenticeship
Why is no one
money
paying me
for
to help business owners and stuff?
Well, because that's...
Exactly, it's hard.
Yeah, it is hard, but for example...
And I've had loads of
trades,
training people that teach hairdressers and stuff on this podcast and beautician stuff. They're not having it easy. They're not making loads of money. They're turning money and hopefully keeping a bit themselves. I also don't like, for this type of business, I think it's very hard to sell what you're building at the end.
Yes.
Especially, it's all around him as well. At the moment.
Unless you start to buy the hardware. So if you start buying the plant.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
This is my business. I would own my own cranes, operate my own cranes.
I'll train your own people, send them out.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Capital intensive though, if you need £250,000 for a 40-tonner.
I know, but it's very easy to finance this stuff. If you've got a profitable business, you can get lease finance on that in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
Well, we will find out. Where does he want to be? We always ask our entrepreneurs where they want to be in 1 year's time. Not sleeping on the office floor on an airbed. No, I'm dead serious. Mm-hmm. I think he's actually sleeping on the floor in the office.
Wow.
If I could hit 10k net profit monthly, I'd be happy. What do your business look like when it's finished? What does the business look like when it's finished? World's leading provider of construction training to businesses and individuals. Do you make the profit that you want to? He said, and if so, what is it? No, not even close. 3 to 6k per month. What do you do day to day in the business? Sales training, filming ads, and YouTube content. And then he's got 5 questions that he'd like to ask you. He's also got his own YouTube channel.
He's just started a YouTube channel. Really interesting. He said he's got 10 leads off of that already. Yeah. He's only been doing it a few months.
Yeah. That's good going.
Content marketing does work if you're in the right space.
100%. Who's the famous guy who's got like a load of plant machinery? Is it a guy called
Asheville?
Asheville, that's right.
Yeah, he's absolutely smashed YouTube.
Isn't it mad how it's just big trucks, isn't it, his stuff?
Yeah, and his physique looks like mine. I don't know what's going on.
That's strange, isn't it? Very, very similar.
No, he's got a body of a god.
Is that what it is?
But our guest today has the voice of James Bond, Timothy. Yeah. He's the new Timothy Dalton.
Yes.
Yeah.
Old school reference there for those in the know. Should we get him on the pod then?
Let's do it. Hey gang, James here. Great news. Business Masterclass is coming back to London. This is my ultimate 2-day event that will grow the profitability and size of your business so that you can have a commercially profitable enterprise that works without you in it. I've run this event before. People absolutely love it. We get rave reviews and I'd love for you to come along. Imagine 400 business owners in a room serious about growing their business. Imagine the connections you can make. I'll be on stage teaching you all the stuff that I've learned over the last 20 years in 2 days to seriously scale your business up. If you want to find out how to buy companies, raise finance, get customers, and make your teams as profitable as possible, then this is the event for you. Look, it comes with my 100% money back guarantee. You come along to this event, and if at the end of day one you go, do you know what? I haven't got 10 times value out of what I've paid for this. I'll just give you your money back. And here's the great news. Tickets are only a few £100. And there's no sleazy sales on the day. It's just me delivering all the stuff that I know about growing businesses. And I can't wait to meet you. I'll be there. We'll have a little chat with the other 400 people in the room. It's big enough, but intimate enough to really learn the stuff that I know that scales businesses. Cannot wait to see you at Business Masterclass. Now, every year the tickets go like hotcakes, so make sure you get your ticket now. The tickets are £299 as we're making this video, but they grow in value depending on how late you leave it. So get your tickets now before the price goes up. And I'll see you at Business Masterclass to grow your business.
Timothy, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for the most wonderful introduction.
And for those people,
I'll try and live up to the bar,
mate. I'm gonna be absolutely honest. Sack off the lifting and be a voiceover artist. You will kill it off unbelievably.
I mean, this voice is something else. Have you got a girlfriend or a partner?
I did until about 2 weeks ago. I was engaged, but came to a crashing end, unfortunately.
Why? What, you or her?
This is getting personal.
Oh, mate, I'm sorry.
On the plus side, are you looking
It's
for a boyfriend?
okay.
Because James Sinclair sounds like he's in the market for one as well.
I don't think
You're sold to that voice, aren't you?
I don't think you'll be on the market long with that voice. Sorry about
Can
that.
you give us a bit of the summary of the business then, Timothy? Because we've probably butchered it slightly. So it is training for crane drivers. That's what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So we run a number of construction courses each week, effectively. So there are accredited bodies in the construction industry, and you have to get accreditations underneath them because those are what the employers want to see. So, for example, all our crane-related training is under something called the CPCS, or the Construction Plant Competence Scheme. So these are obligatory requirements. You've got to have them to get on site. You've got to have them to be able to work in your chosen field. And so what we do basically is we go out, we find people that want to train, and then we put them through training. And then at the end of that, we sort of bring them back in, and we will help them get into employment and things like that. So, effectively a lot of that is just sitting down with people and making sure they're reaching out to employers, showing them how to do it. I know you guys were sort of talking in the introduction of the nicheness of it. It is pretty niche. It's true. I mean, I've spent a lot of time trying to estimate the size of our market, and it's quite difficult to do. I would say, there's probably 100 people training per month into sort of crane-related trades and things like that. That's being a very average guess. So it isn't massive, which is probably one of our issues. Does that give you guys somewhere to start?
Yeah, and you mentioned construction courses. Is there what other things do you do in terms of courses?
So we've just started doing the NVQs. I know you guys were talking about continuous professional development, and there is an element of that. So what happens is when someone does one of our courses, they get normally their red trained operator card. Now, this is a card that's valid for 2 years. And during those 2 years, you're expected to work towards your level 2 NVQ. There's different levels of it depending on the course that you're on. So we do have an opportunity to go back in and sort of re-engage with the customer at any point from sort of 6 months to 2 years, and to sort of help them with their NVQs, which obviously is an additional sale for us. The thing is, there's just not as much money on the NVQs as there is on the initial sort of courses. So it's not majorly lucrative, and we do have, I think our actual rate of people that end up actually going on to then do their NVQs, it's quite low. We have a lot of people that will pass the course, they'll do the exams, and then they'll sort of just disappear randomly. I think people like the idea of it, but they quite often, when it comes to doing the hard work, don't always fancy it in reality. I think people sometimes see it a bit like a bit of a get rich quick scheme, or not get rich, but get well paid quickly. But then when it comes to actually doing the work, people don't always want to do it.
Interesting. Okay, right. Let's. I just want to go through here. So you're being challenged getting customers and being consistent. If there's only 100 customers a month in the whole marketplace, and you get how many a month do you get?
To be honest, I think that's a bit of a silly figure I've given. I think there's possibly 100. There's 2 different courses that we mostly focus on. So there's a course called the Slinger Signaller course. Now, a Slinger Signaller is effectively the guy that stands on the ground and attaches things to the crane, and they bank the crane operator around the construction site. And then you've got the crane operator as well, who actually sits in the crane. So, I think you've probably got 100 Slinger Signaller courses done per month. You've probably got 20 crane operators done per month.
But what about your business? How many does?
We probably do 10 a month, 10 to 15 per month.
So yeah, you got 15% of the marketplace already.
I mean, it's a very sort of pseudo-based assessment of the market size. I might be completely off.
I doubt you are. And the reason I'm pointing it out is, even if you got 100% of the market, which you're not going to get, but even if you got half and you turned it into 50 customers a month, is that really going to give you the life that you want?
No, and this isn't the business that I think is going to take me to isn't the business of my wildest dream at all. But I do like to recognise, that I'm sort of, still very young in the game, and making money is absolutely the priority, but I also kind of believe that sometimes you have to short track, the fast money just to learn the lessons,
for sure.
Business. So yes, I don't think this is going to make me millions upon millions. There are businesses, that probably turn over. Well, the biggest business in this space did do 20 million in turnover last year. So there's money there. Now they've got a lot of vertical integrations, which is how they've done that. They certainly haven't done that of one course. So that there's opportunity there in that if you want to vertically integrate, and if you want to supply the businesses, absolutely, I think 20 million isn't to be sniffed at. The very niche that we're in right now isn't massive. No, it's a salary effectively.
I'm just trying to find you on the internet here. Okay, so
we'll be under Lift Tech Academy.
Yeah, I'm just
and then.
So whose cranes do you train on then? If you don't own the plant.
Yes, so we have a number of providers that we work very closely with that actually do the implementation of the training art themselves. So it's quite a nice business model because but it is and it isn't. It's obviously got its benefits and its drawbacks. So in terms of...
Oh, so you don't actually do the training?
We outsource the training to our supplier for the actual training, because if we wanted to do that in-house, it absolutely is something we can do, and it's something I looked at originally, and that was the original sort of thing we were going to do. But I actually decided before, because as you mentioned in the introduction, it's very capital intensive. What I decided was, let's actually make sure we can sell it first of all. Let's make sure we can get bums on seats before we start taking on, £10,000 to £15,000 a month in leasing finance and things like that. Which in hindsight was definitely the right thing to do, because we would be losing money if it's not a case of build it and they will come at all. I think it's a case of reputation, and you've got to get that reputation before you can consistently pay off all the plant and things like that.
So you're effectively then, sorry to talk over you, Timothy, you're still effectively you're a marketing agency then, aren't you? You're getting the leads and converting them.
Yeah, 100%. That is basically how it feels at the moment, which, appreciate doesn't leave a lot of resale value on the table for the business. And, to an extent, I wonder, how useful we are. People are really happy with the service we provide them. We have a lot of very grateful customers, so I quite enjoy it in that way. I sort of do feel like I'm a little bit at a place where it's like, well, it's difficult because I think scaling for us, I think the answer is just volume. It's just more and more and more volume. But also, I'm brutally aware that we're just a sales company. We're just selling things to people. We're just the call center in some ways, aren't we? And I obviously I see the issues with that.
I mean, look, I feel obviously you're going to do some more stuff in entrepreneurship. But if you know how to sell stuff, you know how to market stuff. Imagine if you put that something where people need you all the time.
Yeah, and this is, you're absolutely right. It's something I've, tried to think about a lot. Well, not tried to, something I do think about a lot. And I have days with this business where I just go, it's so difficult getting customers. I'm sick of it. I get really fed up with it quite often. But then I'm also of the belief, well, it's supposed to be hard, isn't it? It's supposed to be quite difficult.
Well, no, I think, people say that when they're in trouble and,
What do you say? Easy, difficult?
Yeah, but what I do believe is if you can sell something there's a hungry audience for it, then make life a lot easier, doesn't it? Like if you've got a 3-bedroom detached house in the southeast and you want to find a customer to rent it off for you tomorrow, you're going to get a lot of hungry audience that want to buy or rent that property from you. And I'm not saying that that's what you should go and do. I'm actually not a fan of that. If you've got a hotel in central London and people want to stay there, they'll find out about it. If people in the early mornings are going to Liverpool train station and they want to buy a Costa coffee, there's a hungry audience ready to buy. When I come across people like you that are very, all the call to actions on the website, your onions on all of that stuff. Like, imagine if you put that into something where there's a hungry audience and a big enough audience. It's scary what you can make.
Yeah, you were talking about in the intro, HGV training, for example, which is, something we come across quite often, because to be a mobile crane operator, you need to have an HGV license. And I thought you made a really good point, actually. You're right. You do see, thousands of lorries every day. Now, these are also verticals we can integrate quite easily. Which is one way of growing the size of our audience. Because yes, I don't think, I think we could maybe have a nice lifestyle business in its current setup. I think the goal for this is
just something's just hit me, and I like to get them out before we go any further. Most of these people are self-employed, are they? Once they're crane drivers?
Yes.
So then you've got to have an agency. It's as soon as they're recruited, they go into your agency, and then you sub them out, and then you have ongoing money forever. Then, don't you?
That is something that was sort of highlighted. I sort of thought about very much at the beginning, and I do think it's true. Now, I think the problem is that the employers, the big tier 1 contractors like Mason, Skanska, and Balfour Beatty, they tend to want more experienced workers. They don't really want to hire people fresh out of crane schools.
We'll get some of those people that are experienced onto your agency and get them work as well.
So you would suggest, because this is something I've thought about, and it's kind of taken a level of discipline actually to not go, and let's just build a recruitment agency, and let's get some cranes and hire them out, and then let's do plumbing, and let's do carpentry, because
I'm not telling you to do
no, I know.
But anything within the plane space that you have, crane space,
sure,
that sort of folds in. Yeah, I think you should absolutely be involved in that.
Yeah, I mean,
because you're not making enough money at the moment.
Or you find leads for niche training businesses, and that becomes your thing. And you go to HGV and you go to recruitment, people who do sort of other specialist training. Go, would you like us to bring you hot leads? And we take a referral fee, and you just literally do the marketing for all that stuff. Because this is, from the looks of your website, which is actually a landing page, it looks like that's built on like
it's Wix.
Yeah. So, but again, it's got all of the stuff that it needs to do. So
yes,
if you push that as a Facebook and Meta ad, because when you said about it at the beginning, like you're doing Facebook and Meta, I'm like, is that the right audience? But actually, for the training side of it, it definitely is. But if you could get, if there's say 20,000 people total audience for this, then there's probably 250,000 for bricklaying courses. There's probably 250,000 for HGV courses.
Absolutely. Well, and I think there is. I mean, in looking at our Facebook advertising, it's quite interesting because we do quite well. I mean, for example, last year we spent £2,645 on advertising. That actually generated 65k in revenue. So it works. It does work.
Jeez,
it's just very.
I'm just, Timothy, I find you quite frustrating, and I'm just going to be up front here.
Sure.
You obviously know what you're doing with marketing. I'm looking at this website. There's like the call to actions, the headlines, finding the phone number, the
features and benefits, hero video.
Like, what exactly I'm going to get. I mean, not many people know this stuff as well as you do. I don't know where you've learned it all, but like it is close enough to be in textbook on what a website should do to get customers. You've gone and done some content, Mark. Loads of stuff. You've just then said, I spent $2,500 and turned it into 65 grand. Most people don't know how to do this stuff. I hope when you listen back to it, you have some ultimate skills here that many business owners would love, but then you've just chosen to do it on something that only brings in £10,000-15,000 a month.
Yeah,
because that's the size of the market. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
It's like if you was doing it for a dentist practice, where there is millions of people that want their teeth done, or like we done a podcast with opticians earlier, it's a £3.8 billion market. Just in the UK, people buying spectacles, and we had a bit of a go at them about their website and said, look, their website isn't, it's all about the wrong stuff. And it's not worth pointing out because the listener can't see it right now, but if people go on your website, to me, that is someone that understands marketing.
Yeah, well, we just always think, just give people one choice, which is the direction you want to go in. And if you want them to contact you, just put a big orange button there that says, speak to us.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm in that choir. But you obviously understand that. Most people don't understand that. And I think you've either got to change the model so that there is a chance for you to have 100,000 potential customers a week or a month, rather than 120 a month.
Yeah, okay, absolutely.
And you might go, actually, I've really missed that. It's not 120, it's 500 a month, or it's 1,000
I still think
a
that's
month.
too small. That's
Yes,
tiny,
still too small, yeah.
No, I fully agree. So, for me, I've got one sales guy that works with me. Sorry, I think when it said 2 team members, I think I might have included myself in that. Sorry, amateur mistake. So we've got 2 of us, including myself, another sales guy. And so, I'm thinking about getting him on some B2B campaigns, just literally, we just outbound cold call, things like that,
Who to though? Who are you B2B out calling?
Sorry, so we're not doing that yet, but that's what I'm thinking of starting. So at the moment, all we do is we generate Facebook ads. We bring them through quite an extensive screening system. So it's just a type form.
Look at all this good stuff. Look, mate, you know all this stuff, and you've chosen to be in a marketplace that's teeny weedy.
Yeah. Well, it's just trying to learn the basics, really.
Yeah, but what these
basics, know the basics now.
What if you put it into something where there is actually a hungry audience that want to spend lots of money?
The only thing I think about, right, is that I wonder if this works. Well, you probably would say it doesn't work, which I fully understand. There's scales of success, right? So, I would maybe say, does this work because I can speak on things with authority because I've been there and I've done it? Does it work because it's niche? It's like we don't really have any competition. There's these little things that. Sorry, go on.
Look, Timothy, if you've watched my stuff, and I know you have, I talk about the 4 company philosophy. The company you are today has to cash flow and pay all the bills. Company number 2 is the company you really want to be. Company number 3 is a media or marketing company, and company number 4 is a wealth company that's buying property or investing in stocks and shares, right? So they're the 4 companies an entrepreneur should be running in unison as a philosophy. So I think company number 3, a media marketing company, I think you have got 5 stars there. Company number 1, the company you are today, is paying all the bills and doing all that. We're there. But the company you really want to be, the finished company, thinking with the end in mind, for your level of ambition and what you want to do, and one of your things was, I'm sure it was like to be the world's best, blah, blah, blah. That's a pretty lofty goal, but I could be the world's biggest provider in this business in a couple of months because only 120 people a month buying.
Yeah, sure. Well, there's international opportunity as well. That's another thing I look at,
But then we look at the model. People don't need to buy from you again. So imagine if you put your efforts into CPC stuff or continual professional development stuff within, where companies have to have their staff go on it every 3 months, and then you sign them up to programs. That's a better business model.
So there is elements of that we can go after those customers.
Elements. You said the word, Timothy. Elements. We don't want elements. We want truckloads of cash, don't we?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, we do. So if a business customer, for example, that might buy from you 6 times a year, would you say that's still too small?
No, that's great. But as long as it's good money and it's
But who's buying from you 6 times a year?
No one is buying from us 6 times a year.
Right.
We only do B2C at the moment.
Right,
so those guys are sort of one and done, and maybe an NVQ, which we'll make 200 quid on if we're lucky. So we might make 400 quid off the first sale and 200 on the second. So it's low lifetime value.
I think I'm talking macro, and you try and bring the conversation micro. So
yeah, you're absolutely right. I think one of the things.
Let me finish, Timothy. Remember the 4 company philosophy. Company number 1 is the one you are today. You need that company. You're in that company right now. Company number 2, with thinking with the end in mind. What does the business look like in 10 years' time? And thinking a 10-year chunk, because it'll force you to think bigger, and it'll stop you from going back to where you are today. So think about what the business looks like when it's finished in 10 years' time. The media and marketing stuff, you're very, very good at. And so I don't think we need to talk about that. And then you want to make sure that you pour 50% of your profits into wealth creation stuff, slow pound stuff like building commercial property or buying stocks and shares, stuff that will look after you in retirement. So them operating companies, the number 1, the company you are today, and the one that you really want to be, just think about how could you make 20 million turnover out of a business in 10 years' time, and you then reverse engineer it. So what does it look like at the end, and then reverse engineer it? Sure.
Are you asking me that as a question?
No, I don't think you can answer me right now. I think you need to go away and think about it.
Yeah.
If you just because you don't know.
No.
So don't answer it. But what I'm telling you is to go away and seriously think about what, I always say it's like you're playing fantasy football. Who would be your dream team, and what do you need to do? What do you need to become, or what do you need to do to have that business? And then what are you going to do in that business? What does your role look like? But I also think you need to maybe slightly tweak the model. You've got all these skill sets, putting it on something that is impossible to turn into a big business. And you don't want a lifestyle business. You told us you wanted a big business. So I think it's very hard to build a big business where there isn't a big audience.
Yeah, okay. Gosh, that's quite a bit
But look, this is, you can't just come on here and, wave a magic wand and we know all the answers. We're all seeking it, but most people...
Yeah.
You could do the thing that most businesses struggle with, and that is get leads.
Yes.
That is very, very clear. I think if
absolutely,
look at it from
JB,
the outside,
you are on the money there.
Leads for trade-based businesses, that is what I think, because you're already in that space a little bit, or for training-based businesses, because the big end sort of lofty goal, the world's leading provider of construction training to businesses and individuals, but you're not providing the training, you're just doing the sale.
Yeah, and do you know what? The other thing is as well, Timothy, you do like the easy route. I'm telling you now, you do. I know you type of... I would own the cranes. I would do the recruitment. As soon as I'm saying these things, we take on the lease payment. But if you're going to have to get some balls and make some decisions, because I'm telling you now, if you had a crane, if you've done all the marketing and all the stuff that you know how to do, you would make sure you make those payments because you're a good marketeer. You will find a way to service the debt or whatever it is. But what you're doing with this training space is very low barrier to entry. I could compete with you tomorrow.
Absolutely.
I could start and compete with you. You go and buy a £250,000 crane. I'm not telling you to go and do this, by the way, but you've got to find a yard to store the thing. You've got to find someone to drive it. You've got to commit the cat. All of a sudden, you've got moats around your castle that are going to stop people just competing with you tomorrow. But what you're going to have a lot with crane hire companies, they'll be useless at marketing. They won't go and get leads. The way they will get leads is time in the game, recommendations, and just history.
People they've known for 20 years.
Yeah, it's all of that.
That's exactly what they do.
Yeah. And if you could find a business that's been run by a baby boomer, a crane company, they don't want to own it anymore, and you could go and buy it and then put your marketing magic on it, that's got some history, and there will be loads of baby boomers that hate their business and they kids.
I know of a few that come to mind,
especially
already.
In this sort of a space. Might have a yard with 2 or 3 trucks. It's been in their family for like 30, 40 years.
Yeah, we want £1 million for our business. You can pay us over 5 years. You pay them $200,000 a year, and then you own everything. And they probably sit on the board. You pay them $50,000 a year salary. It's a nice little pension fund, and you take it forward. Because it'd be cheaper for them to sell it than close the company down if their kids don't want to run it.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Can I ask a quick question then?
Go for it.
That's
thanks. Sorry. That does appeal to me a lot. Honestly, it really does. So what I would say then, because I agree, I think my biggest flaw is I don't think big enough at all. And I've sort of been like, niche down. Riches are in the niches, and all this Hormozy-esque stuff,
But that is also correct.
Yeah. Everything's correct until it's not, right? And so I would then say, okay, but then is that a massive, huge opportunity then? Because I guess I would go, well, people are always going to need heavy stuff lifted into hard to reach places, which is effectively crane operations, I look at some of there are massive companies. You've got Ainsco Crane Training, you've got Crane Hire, you've got huge companies that do crane hire. And it probably wouldn't be that difficult, honestly, for me to go in. I know a few people in the industry. I know a few guys that are in their 70s now that they've got businesses that they're sort of they've got 6 or 7 staff. They're just paying their salaries and they're paying off their, lease payments and things like that. And they've got nice lifestyles out of it, but they're probably sick to death of it. So it probably wouldn't be the hardest thing in the world for me to go and acquire a company with some cranes and things like that. And,
thanks for being on the podcast. You know what you got to do? You're going to become a very wealthy man. Congratulations.
Sure. Sorry, go on.
But you've just answered your own question, haven't you? You can't ask me or JB for permission to go and do what you know you need to go and do?
No, not asking for permission. I guess there's so many opportunities you're presented with on a daily basis. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I was just offered a job, a 300k a month job, not a month, sorry, a year job.
No, I'm in.
Yeah, I know, but this is a problem. I'm sat here making 15 grand on a good month, and you have to say no to some of these things and believe that you've got to keep going, and eventually it will be $1 million a year. So I think one of the problems I have is I'm like, I know there are opportunities out there, and right now what I'm in doesn't look like an opportunity, but do you know what I mean? When you say yes,
there's only so long you can keep dipping your fishing rod into an empty pond before you're going to starve. And that's the reality of this sector in this market. But again, going back to your ability to get leads, to convert leads, you and your one salesperson can turn yourself into a lead generation agency for trade-based businesses who are crap in general at finding leads. And you could be getting, the same amount of money with zero of the headache. Because what you'll talk about in terms of sort of what you're taking each month, obviously that's, you're only making 400 quid, aren't you, per actual sale of the training at the moment. So it's a small margin on a niche product. Or you go buy 15 cranes.
You go and buy the crane company that's not doing any marketing, and you do all that good marketing, and you become the number one crane company in the UK.
Yeah. Or that.
Or both.
That sounds exciting. That excites me a lot. Yeah, well, once you've got that.
But what he's doing there is JB is. I mean, we're different, we love each other, but he's gone one slightly higher barrier to entry to what you're doing right now, but I am going to the highest barrier to entry.
Yes.
And I'm telling you now, moats around your business is how you build something that someone wants to buy. And these agency type businesses, what JB's talking about and what you're doing right now, even though JB's talking about doing it on steroids, very hard to sell. Very hard to sell.
I'm really excited by the prospect of that, James, and I really appreciate that, because I really struggle to think big. I actually the other thing is I kind of want to do it in the US. So I'm between the UK and the US, right? And one thing I've found is getting money, and this is going to be a bit un-PC, I might regret saying this. Getting money out of British people is like pulling teeth. Getting money out of Americans it's a lot easier. I don't know if you've.
It's because of that voice. It's because of the voice. You will be able to sell any old nonsense to the Americans with that voice.
I want to buy from you. I mean, if I was a female, I'd be marrying you. I think you sound amazing.
God, tell my ex-fiance, please.
Oh, what? No. Is she going to listen to the pod? Do you think she'll listen?
Possibly, if I attach it to a vase of flowers.
Oh, did you do something wrong, Timothy?
Oh, don't go down this route. Shut up. You don't have to answer that, Timothy.
He does want to answer. Everyone wants to know. There's going to be hundreds of thousands of people on the edge of this.
We've got to also put Timothy's face on this video as well.
No, it wasn't that I did anything wrong. So do
not answer, Timothy. Shut off.
It's my name on this podcast. Answer the bleeding question.
I'm out.
Oh, gosh.
No, but do you want to get back with her?
God, yes, absolutely. She is the most wonderful woman on the planet, and she was so supportive of my sort of entrepreneurship journey. And I've had partners who aren't, and she was in it. I said it's going to be a 10-year game. She was amazing. So I know, a bit gutted, but
we'll send this.
What are you doing about it? What are you doing about it? Use your marketing powers to get your missus back.
I'm doing a lot. I'm sending flowers. I'm
Don't send bloody flowers. Everyone does that. You got to be unusual in a very usual world.
Writing letters.
Direct mail's good.
You love it, direct. You could, in a James Bond-esque suit, crane yourself in with the flowers. That's the only way the flowers stand out, is if you crane yourself in.
JB gets a round of applause.
Come on.
He gets a round.
We're in America, though. I'll probably get shot.
No, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. They got bigger fish to fry at the moment.
And you got to have the Westlife song, I live to is she American, is she?
She is, yes.
Wow.
Hence why I'm in the US a lot, well, that and other reasons, but I sort of have a bit of like a dual life. I'm sort of in the US half the year and in the UK the rest of it.
And did you meet her in America?
You're so nosy.
I happened to be on Hinge, and I was actually in Mexico because most of my day to day is sort of remote, which don't lay into me for that, James. I know how you feel about it, and I don't disagree with you at all, actually. It's just, so I agree with you 100% on being there in person.
What is Hinge? Is it a dating site?
It's like Tinder.
Oh, it's Tinder.
It's for really attractive men with really nice voices. It's a special niche.
Absolute slam dunk.
Riches and issues.
And I was actually in Mexico, and I had a friend from Des Moines, Iowa, who said, I was in Nashville, and I said, all the girls in Nashville, they just want to party, and, I'm 30 now, and everyone here is sort of in their early 20s. I said, where can I meet my wife? That's what I want. I want a wife. And a friend said, put your Hinge in Des Moines, Iowa, the location, because there's loads of lovely girls there. So I did it, and within about 2 days, I met this wonderful girl. And next thing you know, I was flying into Des Moines, Iowa, out of Mexico, so...
My God. I mean, any woman that listens to this podcast, now that they know that you want her back as well, they're going to want you even more.
Lifttechacademy.co.uk, speak to an advisor, it comes through to me.
And Tim looks how he sounds, by the way. If you think his voice is nice, he's a very attractive man.
Everyone's going to be Instagramming him.
You guys are very kind, thank you.
We can't help your business, but we can help your love life. We can definitely help that.
How old is this girl? How old is she?
She's 24.
24, so a little bit younger than you.
Yeah, it's just sort of how it is in America, really,
Wow.
That's a James Sinclair dating show, everybody.
Well, I hope you get her back, and I hope you sort out your business stuff. You're a talented chap. That's
Do you really think so?
Yeah. On the marketing front, it does wind me up when I come across. We have loads of people that are really good at marketing that just don't want to do the higher barrier to entry stuff. It's a regular thing on the pod.
Sure, that's the thing. I'm so keen to not be the course coach or the Facebook guru. It's just I think it's predatory. And
someone that's really good at PPC or Facebook ads, or teaching people how to do Amazon or Shopify. Just do it yourself if you're that good at it, and you can make a lot of money. And they're like,
yeah.
And then they can't argue with me. They always agree.
Yeah, and they can't do it because they know it's a pain in the arse and it's difficult to sell and it's actually not that easy, which is why I tend to think a lot of those are nice lifestyle businesses.
Well,
I know
to a degree, you're right, but what JB said is most business owners always want more leads. You have cracked the conundrum on the leads, and that's the difference that you have.
Sure, I really like your idea of just going all in on a crane company, out in the US effectively, because I think
would that get the girl back? Would she be more impressed if you had a crane company?
Probably. I think her family would. That's
we can name the crane company after her.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
What's her name?
No, shut up, Sinclair.
I want to know. Grace.
Yeah.
A Raising Grace. Great crane pun.
Grace lifting. Graceful lifting. I know. Gosh, this is cringy now.
You're amazing. Well, if you and Grace, can you do me a favour? If you and Grace get back together, can you send me a message on Instagram? Because I love hearing a love story go well.
Of course.
You're so soppy. You're so soppy.
No, I want to know, and our listeners want to know. Then we'll update listeners that Timothy's back.
Tune in next week. Yeah, can you come back onto the pod? Oh, what are we doing here?
No, absolutely.
No,
I'll keep you guys informed.
How long was you with her for?
It was short. It was only 6 months.
But, that's enough.
6 months till engagement.
Yeah,
it's America. It's how it works over here. They don't mess around. It's in sort of Orthodox Christian families. You put a ring on it quickly. So
6 months, 6 years. I was still questioning whether it was the right thing to do or not. 16 years, and I'm still asking myself the question.
Well, I agree with you. In London, it's very different. I grew up very differently, but in America, there's a strong sort of. We're in the Bible Belt here in Tennessee, and if you meet a good woman. You lock her down and you make it known that you want to keep them. So that's sort of just the expectation over here. And I think if you have no reason not to do it and you're comfortable with it, you do it. Which is how I felt,
Well, this conversation took a turn that I did not see coming. If anybody is listening to this and they're thinking, do you know what, 50 bags a year, I fancy a bit of that as a crane driver. Where can they go and get more information on your fan? And for everyone else who wants to see a very good landing page executed, where should they go and have a look at?
Yeah, can I just before we go on to that, this website is exactly what it should be. Design is not It's not Louis Vuitton, Gucci,
No.
Christian Dior.
Doesn't
It's designed to get people to take action, and that is why it's so good.
Do you know what? It's brilliant about it.
Because you're going to kick me now when I tell you I've spent the last month designing a brand new website.
Don't need one. This is the perfect squeeze page landing page, because wherever I click, I can't go anywhere. You want me to get on a phone and book a call with somebody, and everything is pushing me towards doing that. I can't find more information. I can't go and find about us or a team page. Wherever I click, I'm just anchored onto the different part of the page. It's brilliant for what it needs to do.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Gosh, that's so funny. I've just spent months building this new bloody website, but
That
and that was
might
my
be
number one concern.
glorified procrastination. Procrastination is the thief
'cause
of
what
time.
I know.
What I'm trying to do
agree.
is I'm trying to get the point there, and I just want to labour it one more time for listeners. Most people think they need to be the new Nike or Apple in terms of design. No,
You don't.
No. What you need to do is get people to actually get in contact with you. That's what you want.
Yeah, completely. I tend to think, if we can just get them on the phone, we've got a much better chance of, answering their questions.
Absolutely.
And really, because...
Do you know, I was reminded of this, and I think it's really important. In Southend, we've got Costa Coffee.
Yep.
They're in every high street, and next door to it is an independent coffee shop that I reckon they've got bric-a-brac furniture in there, charity shop refurb. Mm-hmm. They're busier than Costa, without a doubt. They roast their own beans in there. They've got a tiny little roaster. But you go in there, and I wrote this on my newsletter on Monday. For listeners, by the way, I released the James Sinclair letter, 7 a.m. every Monday morning, with my muses and thoughts from the week before. It's completely free to download and get. You just sign up on my website.
It's very good, by the way. I've read it.
JamesSinclair.net. And I write it over the weekend. Anyway, this little coffee shop, you go in there, and if you're in the queue, they go, "Oh, hello, Bill. Yeah, you want tea today? I want one sugar, builder's tea." Boom, boom, boom. And they know. Just do not get that in Costa.
No.
I mean, Costa might do it with some of their regular customers, but they are doing it with every single one. I don't know, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 pounds to fit out a Costa when they start a new store. This place, 10,000, 20,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And the vibe and the feel and the attention to detail, they're getting customers, and they're next door to Costa.
That's so interesting.
And people are more impressed by knowing your name and how they have their tea.
100%.
And they will go and they will seek you out and find you. And I think that's what I'm trying to say with websites. Yes, no one can take Nike and Apple and Louis Vuitton, Christian Dior and all their brand powers and the beauty that they do. But there is also a place. There is also a place for getting your customers to take action. And I love that the phone number's easy to find. Those things really, I'd love that. Speak to an advisor today, the bullet point benefits, how much
Pop
money
up as
you're
soon as
going
you
to
get on the
make,
page.
all of that stuff. And most people miss all that. They miss all that.
Yeah, gosh, it's so funny. Because my concern with it is just it's so primitive that it looks a little, we have trust issue. We have, a level of trust issues and things like when it comes to people purchasing, because people will say, "Oh, we've seen you on Facebook, seen your website, but how do we know you're real?" And, we go, "Well, look, we've got Google reviews, we've got YouTube." That was kind of what birthed the YouTube channel. I've got a friend here in the US who, does very well off his YouTube channel and has grown it to, be quite big. And, so he sort of just for years banged on. He said, "Just make content, just make content, just make content." And I finally went, "Oh, I'll just do it." And, like I said, we do get 5 to 10 inbound inquiries per week, but it's also the trust element. You become the authority on these things, which is sort of the idea. People that come through our YouTube channel, they never question our legitimacy. And what's quite nice, and James, you could probably attest to this, 10 times, more than I can, but people are almost quite excited to speak to you and they go, "Oh, you're the guy from the YouTube videos,"
Yeah.
So you almost get like a little, bit of celebrity presence almost, which is only great in terms of the dance of sales,
Yeah. I agree with all those points.
Play to your strengths, my man. Play to your strengths.
You're amazing. Really lovely talking to you. We are
Thank
going to
you so
grade you
much.
now. You won't know what your grade is until it comes out in 3 months' time or whenever it is.
Can I do the plug? Can I do the plug for the website, etc.?
Yeah, go for it.
So, so if anyone wants to find us, you can join. Sorry. If anyone wants to find us, we're at www.lifttechacademy.co.uk, or you can find us on YouTube at The Crane Man UK if you want to see any more of our videos.
And if you haven't had enough of his voice, you can listen to it on YouTube.
Yeah, you can just we might even start like a subcategory of this podcast, the James Sinclair and Timothy podcast. It could just
Bring
be
me on, get me on the podcast.
And can I just say as well, if Grace does listen to this podcast, come on, text him back, Grace. I mean, 100,000 people listen to this podcast each and every single month. Boring entrepreneurs, and you know what? The guy likes you, Grace. Don't turn him down. Don't turn him down. There we go.
I agree. Thank you, James.
Amazing stuff. Thank you for being on the pod, mate. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for having
Timothy.
me. I
All
really
the best.
appreciate the advice.
Take care.
Bye.
Cheers, mate. Bye. Well, there we go.
I just love you, because was you looking for some romantic music?
Yes, I was.
He was
100%.
going through his jingles,
I was so annoyed. I was like, I can't find anything that's so lovely.
I couldn't talk any more about it. That was funny. Right, let's do 8 traits of the great entrepreneurs. We are going to rate Timothy now, like we do with all of our entrepreneurs. Hit that jingle, baby.
There we go. So this is the point of the show where we rate the 8 traits of the greats. We look at all of the entrepreneurs, the ones that we respect, admire, the ones we look up to. We think, what have they got? What is it that makes them fabulous? And then we rate our guests and see how they're getting on in terms of their greatness.
There's 8 traits of great entrepreneurs, but for today, there's going to be 9.
Here we go.
Number 1, do they have a good voice? He gets 1 point.
Tick, you can have a point.
Stop messing around now. Number 1, starting with the end in mind.
No, you can't have it.
Passionate about their cause. I don't think he is.
He was until we were like, you should be marketing. And he was like, I should.
I'm not giving him that. Untold amounts of resilience.
He's definitely putting in the work with great. No, he's just selling her flowers. No, he can't have it for that either.
Half a point.
What for?
The master relationships with people. I liked him.
Yeah, but that's because he's got a posh voice. You're a sucker for a posh voice.
Well, half a point
there.
there.
Give him a half.
Commercial awareness.
No can do, amigo.
They innovate, so they don't evaporate.
Nope. I wouldn't say so at the moment.
They're master marketeers.
He is that.
I mean, he's so good at it. I want to give him 2 points.
Wow,
which we've never done before, but there's a lot of zeros on the other things.
And by the way, if people could now go onto the page, they'll be like, really? Why is he getting 2 points for that? Because it just does the job so well.
And he's doing the YouTube, and he's working it out on YouTube. Yeah, and I hope people do go on there and see that it's not all about design. It's about...
We'll put a link in the show notes. Whoever's doing the edit, link in the show notes, please.
So number 8, they stay teachable and curious. So he is that.
Yes.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. But I think he deserves a little bit more. I'm going to give him 4.5.
What? Why?
Because overall, there's elements of good stuff there. But he doesn't...
Sucker for a posh voice you are.
No, but he's just doing some... He could be so good.
He's doing the right thing in the wrong space.
Yes.
He's a square peg in a round
likes
hole.
Low barrier to entry.
He does.
He likes comfort and safety.
As do
and if you want comfort and safety, maybe take the £300 a year job that he's been offered.
I thought that. Do you know what? If that's a crane company in Beth's neck of the wood, and he can turn up in a Bentley in Idaho.
Grace.
Oh yeah. Oh blimey. They would put a cat amongst the pigeons.
Grace doesn't know about Beth yet. He told us that before. That's a joke, by the way, Grace, if you're listening.
She's not going to be listening to this nonsense.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe.
They was engaged and they've split up. She might be checking him out.
No. That's not how it works, is it?
Oh, shut up.
You don't check them out after you got rid of them. That's why you got rid of them.
If you split up with someone, you're still keeping an eye on them for a long time after you split up.
No, do you reckon? It's been
just
that
because you've been with Hayley for how many years?
20
years. You don't even know now.
No, I don't look at my exes. I look at my next wife. I look for that on Instagram all the time.
How old are you?
40.
Yeah, so
I've had an ex for 20 odd years. Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't even know, do you?
No.
You wouldn't even know what to do with another woman if it slapped you in the face.
I wouldn't. I'd send her back.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of Hayley, your wife. She's not like that. I just like her a lot.
I like her a lot as well.
She's very funny.
She is funny. I'll give her that.
She is very, very funny. Ladies and gents, thanks very much for listening to this podcast.
What a weird podcast that was.
What do you mean?
There was more dating tips in it and more love advice.
I'm not so sure. I can't. When I hear someone's, he's obviously broken-hearted a bit, isn't he?
He is.
I just don't want to sort that out as well.
Yeah. You could tell, even though he's posh, stiff upper lip.
I mean, he's so sad about it. He split up with that, and he's still in America.
Yeah.
So the facts tell me, the fact he's in America, he's not out there to see Trump and Biden get ready for re-election.
You can't talk about him anymore, can you?
No.
Christ on a bike. Right, if you've enjoyed this week's episode, please feel free to leave us a 5-star review. If you'd like us to go back to the usual format of business, just let us know in the comments.
We've still done loads of business.
If
We're
you
just
prefer
nice
the
and we
dating,
care.
if you prefer the dating side of things, if you'd like to, see Jimbo Sinclair, fix businesses and marriages and love lives, then do let us know. Maybe we could maybe you and Nat should have like an offshoot podcast where you do like couples.
I've asked Nats if she would come on the podcast one day and say what it's like to be with
Really?
me.
What did she say?
She said only if JB does all the questions. But I think people would like to watch it.
Would she do it?
Yeah, I think she would, yeah.
Oh, we've got to do that. I'm not asking the question. You should just talk to her about it.
No, because... Yeah, I think there needs to be a third person asked the
Needs to be a referee.
Yeah, and you're good at that.
We've got to organise that.
If you would like us to do that, should we hit it?
Do.
Yeah.
Just DM the word Nats on any platform, please. Or just
there we
smash
go.
my phone. Right, we'll see you on the next episode for more business, love life, and anything else we cobbled together for that particular episode.
We'll see you then, gang. Bye. Thanks for watching today, gang. I hope you enjoyed the show. Now, look, we're looking for some great businesses to come on the podcast. If you've got challenges, but you're desperate to grow your business and you can't necessarily work out how to do it on your own, you'll be a perfect candidate to come here on the podcast. It's absolutely free to come on the show. Go to my website, jamessinclair.net, and there's a podcast button. Click on the podcast button, fill in the application form, and we'll do our very best to get you on the show and try and grow your business. If you're loving the podcast, make sure you subscribe to the channel by clicking here. And why not give this one a watch? I think you'll like it.